The rain hammered against the diner's plate glass window, blurring the neon eats sign into a sickly green smear. Elias shivered, pulling his coat tighter, though the greasy warmth of the air did little to ward off the deeper chill that clung to him. Silas coughed, a wet, rattling sound that echoed in the otherwise empty space. Martha, the waitress, wiped down the counter with a weary sigh, her gaze avoiding theirs. Bartholomew sat opposite Elias, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Impressive, Thorn," Bartholomew said, his voice smooth and condescending. "You're resonating." Elias ignored the comment, focusing on the metallic tang that seemed to permeate the air. "Where are we going?" "Patience," Bartholomew replied, his eyes gleaming in the dim light. "The Grove waits, a fitting prelude to the main performance." Silas grimaced, clutching his arm. "Performance? What are you talking about?" The returned Silas. Bartholomew chuckled, the sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "Blackwood's promise fulfilled. A symphony of shadows, composed long ago. And you, Thorn, you have a part to play." Outside, the rain intensified. Bartholomew gestured towards the door. "Shall we?" The drive to the Grove was a descent into a landscape of creeping dread. The road narrowed, hemmed in by towering trees that clawed at the sky. The air grew heavier, colder, saturated with the scent of damp earth and something else ancient and subtly wrong. Elias felt a tightening in his chest, a sense of being watched by unseen eyes. The Grove itself was a clearing swallowed by shadows. A monolithic stone structure, choked by gnarled vines, stood at its center. It pulsed with a low, almost imperceptible hum that vibrated in Elias's bones. "Remarkable," Bartholomew murmured, his smile widening. Blackwood always had a flair for the dramatic. He moved towards the structure, effortlessly pushing aside the thick vines. Behind him, Elias could feel Silas struggling to keep pace, his injury clearly hindering him. "What asterisk is this place?" Silas gasped, his voice strained. "A gateway, Silas," Bartholomew replied, his voice echoing strangely in the clearing. "A conduit to other realms." He pressed a hand against the stone, and a section of the wall slid open, revealing a dark, descending passage. A blast of frigid air rushed out, carrying with it the scent of decay and a palpable sense of unease. "After you, Thorn," Bartholomew said, stepping aside with a gesture that felt more like a challenge than an invitation. The passage was claustrophobic, the walls slick with moisture. Elias felt the weight of the earth pressing in on him, the darkness deepening with every step. The air grew colder, heavier, saturated with a malevolent energy that prickled his skin. "What's down here?" Silas whispered, his voice trembling. "Secrets," Bartholomew answered, his voice echoing from somewhere ahead. "Blackwood's greatest secrets." The passage opened into a vast chamber, bathed in an eerie green light emanating from an unknown source. The metallic scent was overpowering now, clinging to the back of Elias's throat. Intricate machinery, crafted from an unknown metal, lined the walls, humming with an unsettling power. In the center of the chamber stood a complex device, resembling a giant music box. "The source," Bartholomew said, gesturing towards the music box, "the conductor of this macabre orchestra." A haunting lullaby, both beautiful and terrifying, drifted from the device. It resonated deep within Elias's mind, stirring memories he couldn't quite grasp, feelings of profound sadness and an overwhelming sense of dread. "That music," Silas gasped, clutching his head. "It sits in my head." Bartholomew chuckled. "The promise, Silas, the promise of return." Blackwood ensured it would be heard. Elias felt a strange pull towards the music box, a compulsion to touch it, to understand its power. He took a step forward, and Bartholomew's hand clamped down on his arm. "Careful, Thorn," Bartholomew said, his smile gone, replaced by a cool, almost predatory gaze. "Your resonance is volatile. You have the potential to disrupt the performance." He released Elias's arm, but the warning lingered. Elias looked around the chamber, his gaze falling on a single crimson rose lying on a nearby table. It seemed impossibly vibrant against the oppressive gloom. "What is all of this about, Bartholomew?" Elias demanded, his voice trembling despite his best efforts. Bartholomew's smile returned, slow and deliberate. "A game, Thorn. A game with stakes you can't possibly imagine. And you, my dear Thorn, are a key player, a pawn, if you will." He turned towards the music box, stroking its polished surface with a reverent touch. "The curtain is about to rise, Thorn. Prepare yourself for the spectacle." Suddenly, a tremor shook the chamber. The green lights intensified, pulsing with an almost painful brightness. The music swelled, drowning out all other sounds. Elias felt a searing pain in his head, a flood of fragmented memories and terrifying visions. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. The tremor ceased, the light dimmed, the music faded. Bartholomew turned to face them, his expression unreadable. He nodded towards the passage. "I believe I have a prior engagement. Enjoy the aftermath." He turned and disappeared into the passage, leaving Elias and Silas alone in the oppressive silence of the chamber. A single crimson rose lay at Elias's feet,